Welcome to Rebecca Sounds Reveille. Oh, you're going to love this episode because the guest I have today is the owner and operator of Third Day Coffee Seguin, and he is a Bible believing follower of Christ Jesus. It's so exciting because he has such a passion for supporters of the armed services, law enforcement, and first responders. You're going to hear more about that either when we talk today or by going to his website. You got to check it out. He served in the United States Navy, so he's a veteran, and we just want to really honor him for doing that as well. And he was in the Texas State Guard. So with that, and there's going to be so much more for me to share, I've got to tell you, he is also very passionate about serving the King of Kings, and he does it also by sending the message through his coffee. Welcome to the show, Jose Roberto Alaniz Jr. Welcome.
Thanks, Rebecca. I appreciate you having me on the show.
I am so excited because you have such a message, you have had such a journey, and yet the things that you're doing really serve your community and, well, your clients too. So let me just ask you, how did you get started in the coffee business?
That was pretty. So first off, I'm going to tell you thank you for having me on. I got really choked up when you were doing my intro there because I am very passionate about what I'm doing. Uh, and the reason I'm wearing a hat, I usually wear my pray hat. Everybody knows my pray hat. I'm wearing a St. Patrick's Day hat because my dad was born March 17th, 1936. Dad passed away on the 5th of March,
Oh,
2016 at 3:17 p.m. So me and my sister and my mom had decided that dad died when he was 80, even though he was a few days shy. Uh, that's a God thing. um, yeah. So I was working for a government agency. I worked for a private company and we serviced this particular agency with the federal government for 10 years. Was the last time. I've basically worked off and on for the federal government since I joined the military, since I joined the Navy in 1989. And so um, off and on, I have done something that did with federal government or local government or state government work. And the last 10 years have been with a specific agency. And so I was it was really wearing on me. And I started praying about a way to get out of that. I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to be around. It's a very toxic environment for me personally. Again, the company I worked for was amazing, but our customer, it was really tough. And so um, we started praying about it. And first thing my pastor told me is pray for divine appointments. And so what I did, that's what I did. I started praying for divine appointments. And I was working 12-hour shifts at night. And so what I did is when I got home one morning, I was checking my messages and I saw a message from somebody. And, you know, usually when you get a message from somebody that has no friends in common, you usually like just blow it off or delete it. Well,
yeah,
this guy,
where's this coming from?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's a picture of him and his sons. And I'm like, well, that's not your usual scam, right? And so I was like, well, I'll check it out. And so I clicked on it. And it turns out that me and this individual belong to a group of like 300,000 members on Facebook. So for him to find me literally was a God thing. It had nothing to do with me or Ashley. And he asked me, he says, man, do you believe in divine appointments? And I'm like, oh my God, seriously? That's what I've been praying for. And he goes, I feel like I'm being led to help you with whatever we need to do to get you from where you're at to, a successful coffee roasting business.
I love
And
this.
so, yeah, so Ashley Williams, Legacy Farms Coffee, he sent me a message almost immediately, hello from Honduras. And I'm like, Honduras? I don't know anybody in Honduras.
Now you're starting to become even more skeptical, right? Like, okay, wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Is this it's not Nigeria.
No,
It's
no, it wasn't Nigeria. It was definitely
so
Honduras.
yeah.
And his profile, it says he lives in Mountain Ridge, Kansas. And so I was really
So
skeptical. I'm like, Mountain Ridge, Kansas, Honduras, come on, man.
okay, what's going on here?
Yeah. And so he explained that he had a farm in Honduras and he lived in Mountain Ridge, Kansas. And he went down there. They spent about half the time down there in Honduras, and the other half of the time they spend up in Kansas. And so we started a conversation, and that was kind of it for a while. And then as I started, I was already buying his coffee, by the pound. I'd buy 4 or 5 pounds at a time, roasting. And then I was having trouble roasting. I was burning coffee. I was doing all kinds of weird stuff. And Ashley's like, well, let me see what you're doing. And so we did a video call, and he started helping me dial in my roast. And so once we got it dialed in, I started doing coffee, but it was taking me like 3 hours to do 6 pounds. And
Okay,
so
now
that
this
was
is a
not
long time in the coffee industry.
Ashley.
No, to roast 3 pounds for 6 hours.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Okay.
Because the industry standard is about 20 or 30 minutes
Okay.
from
Okay.
the time you start to roast till you finish cooling. And I'm doing 3 hours. But it was okay because I'm doing custom roast, right? And wasn't a big deal. And so we started praying a little bit more. And my wife and I came to the realization that God was putting all these people in front of me. And the only reason it had to be for a greater reason, right? And the reason was to get out of where I'm at. And so something that we didn't notice right away, it happened later. But my wife realized, she's like, do you understand that when we started praying for this, all of a sudden I went from being retired to having 3 incomes. And you've met Ashley, and you've met all these veterans who do business and are helping you with your business aspect. I met Justin Charpentier. He's a Army combat veteran that is a digital marketeer. And he has a class on Facebook called Zone of Action. And so he started helping me with the business aspect of my hobby at that time. And so we literally we ordered a machine a commercial coffee roaster from an outfit I did a lot of research because I wanted a US company. There's a company in Oklahoma City called US Roasters, and they hand build these roasters. I mean, literally they get steel and they build them from scratch. And so I told them I needed something that did mesquite, because that's how I started roasting coffee, with mesquite. So they built me this custom roaster. That was back in February of 2020, right about the time the pandemic, shut down the country. And so Ashley was with me the whole time. He was like, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then when the roaster was ready, I went and picked it up. And he said, well, come up here and I'll give you some coffee. So I drove from Oklahoma City to Mountain Ridge, Kansas, spent the night there, had coffee with Ashley. He loaded my trailer with, 450 pounds of coffee. And then I drove home, set everything up, started roasting.
How cool is this? I mean,
it's crazy.
This is just, it's insanely crazy and awesome. And it's a God thing when he's moving coffee like that.
Completely.
I mean,
Had nothing to do with me.
Oh my gosh, this is so incredible. And so
Wow.
you have a special way that you do the roasting, and mesquite is your signature for your
Yes.
coffee. And I can say firsthand, for all of those of you who are watching and listening, I've tried the coffee. I'm drinking it and I like it. And I went ahead and decided to get mine every month because it's that good. And a couple of things with that. I don't have to go to the local competitor who's all over and is a mass chain, even though that has been, my go-to, but I don't have to do that
Right.
anymore. And what's really nice is there's lots of ways to make your coffee last longer. And so I was talking with someone, and I shared this with you. I was talking with somebody, I gave the sample to, and just the smell of it alone was like, oh my gosh, I like this. They didn't want to accept the sample from me because they're like, I know you like coffee and I don't want to take this from you. And I'm like, no, I want your opinion because I need to share that. You may want to continue to drink this, but I need to share this with Third Day Coffee. What are the responses? So, and you didn't ask me to do that. It's just something I decided to
Yeah.
do because all of well, I shouldn't say all of the people, but people that are in my circle are big coffee drinkers, or at least a daily coffee drinkers in the morning or something. But some way, shape, or form, we're all gonna have some coffee. So so I needed to, really get that out there. And so I have a couple of people that are in, just different parts here in Texas that are drinking it now. And so it'll be exciting because I don't know if they're going to be like, okay, can you get me some more? Or I'm going to say, go ahead and get to the website and check it out and start, ordering for yourself. But one of the things that person shared with me was, I only drink a cup a day. And so if I make a whole pot, that's a waste. And I said, no, you can put it in the refrigerator. So if that person was somebody that liked iced coffee, they could drink on that all day long, especially if it
Right.
was the decaf choice, right?
Yeah.
Or they could heat it up and have it over the next couple of days. Coffee lasts a long time. And for us who've been prior military, we'll drink it hot, cold, lukewarm, steaming, piping, sludgy, it doesn't matter. But
Doesn't matter.
when it's the good
Yeah.
cup, you really want to savor it. And it's really exciting because this is a very unique flavor. And I'll tell you what, just having it out on my counter just made my house smell so much better. I mean, not not that I
Yeah.
have a stinky house, but it's coffee does a lot for making an environment warm, welcoming.
It does.
And so I might
Our
suggest
house is completely changed. So we're building a shop, but we do everything in the house still because we're not finished yet. And so I do all the resting and all the grinding and all the packaging in our dining room.
I love it.
And yeah, and my wife's like, when are you going to finish the shop? Because I want my kitchen back and I want my dining room back. But I tell you what, you can walk anywhere in my house and smell roasted coffee anywhere in the house.
And it's what's really good about this. And I want to talk coffee because of how beneficial it is. We know that there's beneficial things to our system, but also
Yes,
to plant life. So you can recycle your grinds in your plants. And that
absolutely.
there's so much with this that really is invigorating, I've got to tell you.
Yeah.
And one of the things that just came to mind while we were talking, I was like, I just got to get this out to you, is those little sample bags are great probably to go to realtors because you can have them putting that on the kitchen of somebody's
Mm,
house, and that's
that's
gonna really have an inviting. There's a marketing.
just sparked this whole thing. My mind's already racing.
I am telling you, you
Yeah.
I'm always like this, thinking about how this is gonna work. I don't know. That's just something that I do and I love it. But it sometimes it can be so mentally
Coffee
draining
has a lot
having
of,
ideas.
it's a natural diuretic, which is
Yes.
good because the less water you have in your system, the lower your blood pressure is. It has a lot of antioxidant properties to it that people, and you know, I do have all the science, stored away in files. I haven't actually studied them yet because, I'm just still trying to perfect my roast. And once I get that down where I don't even have to think about it, where it's documented, where I can, just follow the same process every single time, then I'm going to really push the idea of, look, not only is our coffee, single sourced from a very moral, um, ethical farm in Honduras, but it also has all these properties about it that is good for your health. And everybody's worried about their health today, everybody.
Yes.
And so it's definitely something that we're looking forward to. We aren't there yet. I've got so many irons in the fire still. I left my job almost 3 weeks ago and I thought, man, I'm going to have so much time now to work on everything I want to work on. Nope. I'm just trying to catch
No.
up.
I'll tell you, when
Yeah.
I retired, I thought, wow, am I going to have some extra time on my hands? But giving yourself things to do, especially if you're in the serving others mindset. I mean, even if you're sitting on your couch and you're doing things either, verbally or by the computer, or you're getting up and moving around, there's really a lot that can keep somebody that's retired busy. I mean, and now having coffee dates, this is great. If the states that are opening back up, let's go have some coffee. You can come on over to my house. I'll roast you up some or brew you up some Third Day coffee and we can have a Bible study, you know,
Exactly.
or, but people people have good conversation and good memories around coffee. So I think you have something that's just a a fantastic uniter right there, just in that
Yeah.
alone, and along with all
I'm
the.
going to show you something. So we're so committed to customer service that I flew all the way to Florida to bring a bag of coffee to my brother John. Not really,
I
but
love it.
sounds great, right? So John was my very first subscriber. He's the first guy that said, "Well, what are you doing? You know, how can we help you? Let's get your business going." And he was the very first person who did a monthly subscription to our coffee. And every month I sent him something different. And so I don't know. This is probably backwards, isn't it?
Um, let's see.
Read it.
I can't quite see it, but yeah, keep it close because it's clear. It's coming up clear.
Okay. So this is our Revelation 16 and 8. It's a light roast, high calf, and it's specially roasted for John Grantham. John is not only is he my first customer, my first um, subscriber, but he's also one of my shipmates that we served with back in the 90s, in the early 90s. And so he's been a wealth of knowledge for me. He's been instrumental in helping me, grow my business from a business standpoint. And we happen to be on his patio right now in St. Petersburg, Florida. Uh, been a long time coming. I should have visited these guys a long time ago, but we haven't seen each other in 27 years.
I love this. I
Yeah.
love this. I'm
So we
so
decided,
excited that
yeah,
you're doing this and having the camaraderie. I've There's someone I'm looking for who I was stationed with, and I can't find her anywhere. No social media, and so I just keep waiting because you know how the algorithms move together, and you're able to end up connecting with someone. Someone pops up that says, "Do you know this person?" And you're like, I went to, kindergarten with that person and you're 50 years
yeah.
old. You're like, how did that happen? How do they know? But one of the other things that you do is you host a show of your own, and the audience can listen to that on your website, your coffee site. So can you tell us a
Yes.
little bit about your show?
Sure. So our show is called God Country Coffee. And it is, sorry,
So you're good. You're
know
good.
what's going on here. Okay. Our show is called God Country Coffee, and it's a live video podcast that we do every Friday. This Friday, we're going to do it from St. Petersburg, Florida, with my brothers. But every Friday, we have a different guest, and we just talk about stuff. And I just been so blessed up until this point that every guest that has signed up has had something that God's done in their life. And so this is really has little to do with me. It has to what my part in all this is being obedient to God's will. And so God has a will for me and a plan for me, and my job is to be obedient. And in the process, He just keeps filling my life with all these incredible people. And so we air every Friday night at 1900 Central Standard Time. We air on my personal Facebook page. We air on the God Country Coffee Podcast Facebook page, and we also air on Third Day Coffee Seguin's YouTube page. And so those are things we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow our YouTube subscribers up to 100. Once we get to 100, I can actually name it YouTube/ Third Day Coffee Seguin instead of all the letters and numbers that it is right now.
Yes, there's so many different sort of nuances
Yeah.
within these different social media platforms that you've got to, you know, get with the program. I have to watch keywords here because even the audio portions now are the algorithms are picking up on these audio things. So
I,
I'll share with you when for a few minutes after the show a little bit about some of the fascinating things that I learned recently and how we can avoid not getting our message out there because this is really important. But what you said was something I think the audience really needs to embrace. And I always try to ensure that there's something that they can utilize internally. And so what you said was being obedient has really changed your life, and it's brought out a lot of new connections and a lot of new networking opportunities. I'm sort of, you know, paraphrasing, I guess, if you will. And so this is important. A lot of times we're asking ourselves at different stages of our life, or maybe throughout a certain period of our life for a long period of time, what is my purpose? And if we really listen, we find a certain joy when we do that, when we really just listen. And that joy then allows us to move into areas that we go, I didn't know that I was going to find so much fulfillment in this. This is not a job. And look at what I'm being blessed with. I'm getting income coming in. I'm getting new connections, and maybe there's not connections right now, but the income's there, and maybe the income's not there, but the connections are coming, and then eventually it just all comes together. And so
Right.
it's really kind of an exciting, no, kind of, it's an exciting thing when we start doing that. And so I want to point that out and really let the listeners and those who are watching, the viewers, to grasp it, because it's so important that we feel joy. And you can see it. I've talked to you numerous times. I've seen you. I've heard you. It's in your voice. It's in everything that you do. And I really want the audience to connect with you. I know you're busy today. I want to give you time with your brothers, and Semper Fi. I got you.
Department of the Navy, you know that,
I
right?
know. That's what I'm saying. I got you. I got you. So I want to let you be able to share in that, but I also want the audience to connect with you, to, if they haven't gone on board with starting to bring people back into their world, maybe this will give an opportunity and say, hey, you know what, there's some new coffee out there. Come on over and give it a shot. So that was kind of a
I'll
cool.
tell you something that we do too. We are definitely not all about, ramming coffee sales down your throat. We're not about that. And I'm not about, I don't want just for you to sign up for a subscription. I'll tell you what that money does for us. Okay. We have to buy our coffee. We pay for it. These people in Honduras make $1,400 a year for a family of 5. So what we do, $1 from every bag of Isaiah that we sell goes to LF Missions, which is my coffee supplier, Ashley. Not only does he have a company, a business, but he also has a nonprofit. And what they do is they go down there and they put, stacks on people's houses that don't have good ventilation. They put sewage, because a lot of them they have static sewage, basically out of house, a hole in the ground inside their house. And when it fills up, they scoop it out. Basically what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing sanitation for these people. He's doing ventilation for them, because they warm their houses with wood burning stoves, and that exhaust doesn't go anywhere. And so $1 for each bag of Isaiah that we sell goes to lfmissions.org. $1 of every bag of Isaiah, another $, right? So $2 off each bag of Isaiah that we sell. The other $1 goes to an organization, your brothers, Combat Marine Outdoors.
I
They're
love it.
based out of Texas, and they take veterans, whether their injuries are internal or external. They take them hunting and fishing all over the world at no cost to the disabled veteran. And so, we're not out there charging, $30 for a bag of coffee. Our coffee is very reasonably priced, and we donate a lot of what we have from Isaiah to very credible organizations that are doing real work, doing God's work, and working for our brothers and sisters, taking care of our veterans who are struggling. So I love the way Richard Kaufman, I don't know if you know Richard Kaufman, he's a comeback coach. He's got his podcast called Vertical Momentum. And he always says, he goes, I love your coffee, Jose. It's coffee with an eternal mission. And I love it. I've never heard it put that way except for him. But that's exactly what we're trying to do.
I love that. I love that. And I think there's a lot of information with what we've talked about here for the audience to really embrace. And I want them to connect with you. Tell us what platforms they can connect with you on, and your website as well.
Absolutely. So underneath my face here, you can see my website. is www.thirddaycoffeeseguin.com. You can go there. You can see our podcast there. You can buy our coffee there. You can read about our mission there, about who we support. Everything is transparent. You can catch us on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Third Day Coffee Seguin is our YouTube channel. We're on Facebook under God Country Coffee Podcast. That's our Facebook page. And then my personal page, Jose Alaniz, you can look me up, Jose Roberto Alaniz Jr. Also has a lot of stuff about the business. And so we're on all the social medias. We're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter. We try to do stuff. We're also on Clubhouse. We've been given exclusive permission to do rooms in the Veterans Network, which is the largest veterans group on Clubhouse. And so we hold space there on Friday nights. We're allowed to do our weekly podcast on Clubhouse. And then on Sundays, we do what's called Veterans Praying, Praising, or whatever pops up. And we do all that stuff at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the one on Sunday is really starting to evolve into something beautiful. This last Sunday, I was roasting, but we had one of our Army veteran brothers that is a minister, Jimmy White IV. He took over the room, and that room went for 2 hours. I mean, it was just so blessed.
Wow.
And we were touching people's lives. It was beautiful. And so there's many ways to get a hold of us.
This is fantastic. Well, I am really excited about everything that you're doing, where you're going, and how we're going to be able to help one another through just this vehicle. So thank you. And thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Rebecca. I really enjoy, getting our message out. It's really, I really do believe that we have something that's unique. And it's not, I'm just not trying to line my pockets. I really am trying to help our veteran community. I'm trying to help our community at large. And honestly, I want people to stop drinking gas station coffee.
That's right. That's right. I love it. Stop drinking gas station coffee. Here's one with an eternal mission.
Get some of the best coffee this side of heaven.
That's right. I love it. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Rebecca. I really appreciate it.
And I want to thank all of you for tuning in to another episode of Rebecca Sounds Reveille. I am so excited about this because if you've known me for any length of time, especially on the outside of just the show, you will know how much I love coffee and why I just keep going on about this. I can't help it. And I hope you can share it too. The excitement that I have about this because it's so much fun. And what makes it even more special to me is the message that is on every out. And so I can't not just be overjoyed with this. So I hope you get an opportunity as well. And I hope that you have an opportunity to share this episode with all your friends, your family, your loved ones, everybody you know on social media, and everybody you don't. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.